What's up, guys? So, moving on to high tier. In these videos, this is going to be split into two parts. High tier is kind of the characters where they're all really solid and they generally have ways to cover their own weaknesses, or their weaknesses aren't really as exploitable, or their strength is just absurd. But like, compared to upper mid tier, one thing you're going to notice is that most of these characters are especially, at least not held back by mobility. They're all fast enough. And with that said, let's get right into it. We got Mega Man. So this is a character that I almost put in upper mid tier, to be honest. He is really good. He has extremely solid zoning, but you can also use that zoning to be aggressive. Like, the general mid-range game plan is very nice between pellets, metal blade, just all that stuff. And he can use metal blades to get close to people and be aggressive. He can use like Leaf Shield, Metal Blade, if Forward Smash play more passive. He can set up really nice edge guards with back airs. And overall, he's also a pretty heavy character. He's kind of small, and his recovery is decent. He has decent air mobility, and he's kind of just hard to lock down with constantly hitting you. His main thing that holds him back is that he doesn't hit hard enough, and sometimes he struggles to kill because he kind of wants to set up back airs for kills or getting smashes, but it's not really easy for good players. Also, not having hitbox on recovery means you can take guesses versus it and like really hard punish it if you time it right. Otherwise, he's mostly outclassed by the fact that he isn't hitting as hard as a lot of these other characters in high tier, and he gets kind of mashed on. You can basically press buttons versus him, and it's hard for him to handle that. His pellets don't have much hit stun, and a lot of times he just like isn't built to deal with that. Miva Brawler. This character is good. The only issues with this character is that outside of kill confirms, especially in the corner, he definitely struggles to take those stocks. And that can be an issue when he's a very fast but close range character that has to get in your face. So he's constantly taking risks. He has like one projectile with neutral B, which isn't that great. He does have a lot of versatility though, like a few good up Bs. He has Yoshi down B. He has a couple usable side Bs and neutral Bs. So you can really adjust them to the matchup, which is nice. So being fast and small, having combos, and being adjustable is enough to put him here, although he's definitely outclassed by a character such as Fox or Falcon, I'd say, who do like the run around and get these big combos going and be like rare to hit type of character better. Alright, Kazuya. Still new, of course, but from what I've seen, I'm confident this character is high tier. This character definitely struggles with people keeping him out, but honestly, that's it, and he has just enough tools to get in. Between invincible attacks, the dash movement, and being so heavy that he can afford to take hits and like take risks getting in, and armor to punch through very weak hitting moves, especially low percents. He barely can get in and make stuff work, because when he hits you, oh my god. And then he has like a lot of shield pressure too. That's really scary. Like, he has things where you can like hit your shield, I forget which move it is, and they can do like the electric wing out fist and catch you jumping at a shield, and that's horrifying. So there are some characters who are just gonna hate fighting him because they can't really just zone out and play super lame. And then there's going to be some characters that zone him really hard, and he's just going to hate the matchup. But I think even those matchups will be doable. Hero. Hero's a character where my opinion has actually risen quite a bit over the past year or so. So the thing about this character is when you play him more just like a standard projectile zoner sortie, and you don't really fish for down B stuff outside buffs, he's actually pretty solid. Like, all of his aerials are hard to approach. Even his tilts can be really useful to play defensively. Side B and neutral B give him that extra like range he needs when people are playing right outside of his aerial range. And then, of course, he has the buffs. The rest of down B is useful as well, but it's more like situational, I'd say, at high levels. But the buffs make him absurd. When he gets things like Accelerato, he's like top tier. Oomph Psych Up is horrifying, and he's basically top tier with that. So there's a lot of times where it's like you're fighting him, and you don't approach him so he gets a buff, or he beats you in neutral and he has time to charge a buff. And between that and then there's chargeable neutral B, which is an amazing tool. He really does the whole, you have to get close to me, but you can't game really well. That actually quite a few characters in these upper parts of the tiers are going to be doing. Alright, Samus. Samus is a great zoner. She can use her zoning to play very defensively with Zairs and charge shots and pretty long hitting moves, or she can play more aggressively using, once again, charge shots and Zairs. Like, kind of the way she plays offensive defense is pretty similar. It lets her be very fluid in how she wants to fight you. And with combos off of things like charge shot and Zair, off of grab, which all lead into themselves very well. Bomb ledge trapping, being absurdly heavy, and being kind of floaty so she's not easy to combo, makes her live extremely long. So the fact that get in a lot and win neutral quite a bit, or keep her in disadvantage state for quite a bit, especially when she's hitting pretty hard, is kind of scary. Overall, like, she's outclassed because she is a little bit lackluster mobility-wise. She has trouble landing because she doesn't have a good hitbox below her, and she's kind of slow in the air and floaty. So it's very possible to keep her in disadvantage for a long time. But really, that's like about it for her major weaknesses. Young Link is a character that would be so much better if he wasn't so bad at disadvantage. On the ground, he's so hard to hit. Projectiles, movement speed, kind of slow, good frame data. His combo game is a little bit unreliable, which holds him back as well because you can DI a lot of his stuff, make it harder for him to get, especially with SDI. Some of his things like up B don't reliably connect either, I've noticed. But the main thing is, you get in on him once, and he's so bad in the air. He's so slow in the air, he's a fast faller. His recovery stinks. Even his Zair isn't that big of a tether. And he's also light. Add it all together and it's like, you kind of gotta play perfect with him. Which is fine when he's so, like, his neutral is like so good that even if your neutral is mediocre, you're gonna feel like a neutral god when you play him. But it's, you can't mess up that neutral at all. And then we have Bowser, who says, hey, I'll lose neutral 4 times and it's fine because I'm so heavy. Like, this character is, what if they gave a character extremely good everything? Weight, speed, power, hitboxes, frame data even, and then lots of good tools like forward tilt for 2 framing, flame breath for everything, up B shield, a command grab that kills, and can be a suicide move, like shield breaks. Like, he is everything, and then he's just a big boy, and that's it. So when you're playing against like Bowser at high and top level, or playing as him at that level, he does get exploited and disadvantaged. His recovery is not too hard to 2 frame, although actually edge guarding is kind of tricky. He can like mess with his upping momentum quite a bit. Like, that's really it. It's just, he's a big boy. He gets comboed, he gets frame trapped. A lot of his startups are a little bit below average, so it hurts him as well there. But really, like, if he was like, say, even Cloud size, or like, let's say Mario size, he would be a top tier for sure. Ness. Ness is actually his character, which honestly, he's just really solid overall. Like, he's well-rounded. He kind of has everything you want in kit, I'd say. Good pressure, good mobility, some cool stuff with down B, good projectile game. His recovery is definitely lacking, but honestly is not as lacking as people think because air dodge is such a good tool, and even like his up B, if you don't get there fast enough to challenge it, it's kind of scary to go for that. And he can like mix up his up B timings a little bit to make it hard to 2-frame him, to be honest, because the up B travels so fast that by the time you try reacting to it with the 2-frame, unless he's really far away, you're not getting it. So he's really just held back by the fact that because he's more reliant on his aerials, but he's not super fast on the ground to like get in position for these aerials, and the aerials aren't that big, he gets walled out. He is lightweight, but honestly, he's just like this solid character that isn't over-tuned enough to be top tier. Alright, and then you have Yoshi, who actually is kind of the same thing going for him as Ness. Obviously, Yoshi is a lot more reliant on just like jumping around and spamming aerials in the opponent's face. And since Yoshi's heavy and has the double jump armor, he has to use that to really bully people into swinging at him. But otherwise, kind of the same issue of like, yeah, he's just not quite fast enough on the ground to get in range to use his aerials, even though he's fast in the air. You can just kind of swing at him because his range isn't that great. I will say though, Yoshi's combo game is absolutely absurd, and I don't know what they were thinking with this combo game. Some of his stuff is like, what? But really a well-rounded character who really doesn't play well against the fact that there are so many characters that are good that either have a really good keep away game or like big disjoints to challenge, or projectiles, which just kind of catch you in the air. Olimar is, so he got buffed quite a couple times over the patches during
2020.
And one of the most important buffs is they fix his Pikmin. Now if there's a Pikmin next to him but not the next one in lineup, he will use that Pikmin anyway. And that is huge. I mean, absolutely massive, because now you're not in these situations we hit Olimar, his main Pikmin's knocked away from him and he can't attack, or he has to whistle first, or you don't even know if his Pikmin's gonna work because of some dumb glitches. That reliability pushed him back into high tier for me, because then he has all this crazy stuff. Like, his combo game is absolutely insane. Even outside combos, his like vortex game and his pressure game can be so nutty that when you escape his stuff, like, oh, I only took 60, this is fine. You take another 40 and you're like, wait. And the fact that Pikmin, you know, force people to approach, but make it hard for people to approach it because of hit lag, they have to deal with it. It lets him approach. Purple's being so scary, yellow's being massive, like, all the Pikmin are just kind of absurd. Ridiculous frame data, massive hitboxes on a lot of this stuff. All the smashes having negative priority because they're like projectiles. Really hurts him. And really he's just held back by, he's too light and his disadvantage is too poor. He's so slow in the air. He dies really early. He's not hard to edge guard or anything, so like, He's a neutral monster that has to win neutral, kind of like Young Link. My main thing that keeps him like higher than Young Link is even though Young Link's neutral is probably better, Olimar is so much more explosive, and he has more mix-ups in his disadvantage due to Up B being such a versatile tool and having Whistle Armor. Yeah, guys, that is it for the first half of the high tier, and you'll be seeing the next one soon enough.